We continue shedding light on suicide. It's World Suicide Prevention Day, and I have on the line Jay Bless. Well, Jamie, but we're calling her Jay Bless. That's her name that we would see her on social media. Good morning.
Good morning, Lisa. Good
So
morning,
good to have
Carrie.
you on the
Good morning.
program. And Jay Bless is a Caribbean blogger and podcaster, and you can check out her website, jbless.com. And you know, Jamie, before you came on, I was chatting with Carrie, and I was telling him that, you know, I used to follow your blogs. You were like the TMZ of the Caribbean. You're based in the US, I believe, correct?
Yes, in New
Yeah.
York.
Yes, and you know, everyone logged on to see the, you know, your blogging and so on, and then you just
Gossip.
disappeared. You disappeared from the scene, and I think it was just about a year ago you came back with a different head space, no pun intended, because I think your blog has to do with that. Tell us what caused that gap and just how you were able to handle the situation.
Yeah, thank you for that. And thank you for having me on, Lisa. So, yeah, I came back on the blogging scene 2 years ago. I had tried previously 2 years before that, but I definitely took a break. And the reason why was because just blogging itself, being a creator, being a writer, it was taking its toll. And I think a lot of creatives can understand that. But specifically for me, I was just, head bottle wash, cook everything. And in addition to not only serving my community, I also had family, a husband, a child to take care of. And it was just a lot. 2 years ago, though, I came back on the scene totally refreshed.
Hmm.
JBless.com is now a place of a human experience from a Caribbean perspective with a total different outlook and how we tell stories,
Hmm.
especially from a mental health perspective. And so
Hmm.
I'm grateful for taking that break. I think it's essential that people know that um, you should take a break.
Yeah.
Don't drop down and die for your job, for your family. You have to take time for yourself, even if it means stepping away from something you love to be
Yeah.
refreshed and come back.
Yeah. So I want you to share with the community because you never know who's looking. Yeah. How were you able to navigate that? Because you did pass through, because you've written about it. You did pass through a period of depression. I think even contemplated suicide, and now you're back out and with a successful blog that's award winning and that sort of thing. How did you navigate? And tell us a little bit about what happened and how you pulled yourself out of it.
To be honest, I think for most of my life I've had some suicidal ideations, and I think that's genetic. And so, what a lot of people don't understand is that depression and mental illness is genetic at times. It's not only psychological. You actually have to look deep into your family history. And this is still a taboo subject, and I'm hoping to dispel that by showing you what someone who suffers with depression look like. It looks like me. It could look like you. And so it took a lot of courage to not only start writing about it, but to start a
Yes.
podcast totally dedicated to mental health from a Caribbean perspective called In My Head, where I shared, my own personal suicide story. I think people should go listen to the episode. I won't give a lot of it
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
But I've also published a new story on the site that they could check out today and listen
Hmm.
and get some actionable items on how to identify not only within themselves, but within people around them and their families that may be so severely depressed that they may be having suicidal ideations and
And
how to
did you
help them
have
cope.
anyone who, or what circumstance that jolted you to say, there's so much that I can live for, let me turn my life around? What was that tipping point?
My daughter,
Okay.
my daughter. And I think a lot of times people often say that those who commit suicide are selfish. And I want to dispel that. They're not selfish. They are actually thinking, I would rather relieve you of the burden of me. So I would, bow out and just, not be here so you don't have to worry about me. But people don't understand that at least for the least 153 people experience intense grief from one suicide.
Mm-hmm.
There's one suicide every 40 seconds, 800 suicides around the world every year. Suicide is the second leading cause of death between the ages of 15 to 24. I'm so grateful because I got to see a little bit of your segment before to hear that you guys are doing a lot when it comes to preventing youth suicide. I've
Yes.
seen a lot of headlines on Trinidad talking about 11-year-olds and 15-year-olds committing suicide. Um, a safe space within a family setting is essential. And I know a lot of family members don't have that. But
Yeah.
to hear that we are also trying to provide counselors in schools, that's essential.
Mm-hmm.
I'm imploring that the Ministry of Education do their their due diligence to make sure that we are saving our youth by having youth counselors, youth therapists, youth psychologists in our schools. But in addition to having these community centers to help these parents, it is a cohesive and multi-level approach that we need to take to mental health in the Caribbean, and it actually begins at home.
Absolutely. And persons have already started to respond to the program, and I got a message from a friend saying that she's so happy that we're shedding light on the topic because so many teachers, and you're speaking about the school system, so many teachers have to live through it. It impacts not just the immediate family, but the school family, the teachers and the children. And Carrie was talking about the fact that he lost a friend when he was a teenager, the age of 14. So I just would like us to keep it in the limelight so that we can continue to shed light and to help others to understand that this is a disease that we, like any other disease, that can be helped, because so many
It
people
can
don't want to
be.
discuss it. And you've chosen a different light where you discuss it, you blog about it, and it has been therapeutic for you, I'd imagine.
It has definitely, it saved my life, and it's also saving other people's lives. So I'm grateful for that. And I want us to encourage, the community at large to create safe spaces. If someone tells you they are thinking of killing themselves, I'm being very, very forthcoming and as blunt as possible.
Yeah.
Take that very seriously. If you've seen a change in behavior in someone you love or even within yourself, take the time to enlist the help of a professional,
Okay.
of clergy, of family members to sit and talk this through.
All right,
All
we're gonna
right.
have to we're gonna have to leave it there because we have a hard stop for the news at 7 o'clock. But log on to jbless.com if you want more from Jamie. And thank you so much for joining us this morning, Jbless.